Friends, Jacob is here once again. Thanks for pressing play, and thank you, all of you. I don't know if you know this, but a lot of you are part of what's happening right now, and it's enormous. It's mind-blowing, and it is proof that God is very much in control, that God is very much speaking to those that want to serve Him, that God has big plans for the coming days. Yeah. Sure, you're well aware that the calling, right? I said it for years. How long did I say? I said, oh, it's going to be a bestseller. Oh, it failed the first time, second. I even talked about it just 3 weeks ago in the show. Where I held the book up and I prayed as Elijah prayed when Elijah took on the prophets of Baal. Everybody in the land who, supposedly they were the ones to get you to the God, but the God they were serving was a fake God. It was Baal. And Elijah said, so they know that you sent me. Show them. Prophet that was told to go present himself to Ahab, and he's like, come on now, let's see whose God is real. And I kind of did that, and in a roundabout way, which is strange, which you didn't know before I get into the lunar eclipse that we just had, before I get into the solar eclipse, before I get into the aliens. Whew, this is one show. It's just, I don't even know how this happens. I don't even know how it happens. I was so caught up in just everything and being overwhelmed, but the fact that right now The Calling will forever be known as an Amazon #1 bestseller. That's thanks to all of you. All of you that went out on May 23rd and you purchased yourself a copy, and for all of you that did the next day and did the next day and are still doing it right now, because this book is it's wonderful, and there's more to it. By the end of the show, you're going to find out, because I hid stuff in this book for the day that we're in today. Yeah, many moons ago. So that when it became a bestseller and when it went on to do the things that I believe it'll do in the world, it would be a proof of sorts of the day that we're in. There's a reason why the author, in one of the chapters is 50 years old. This guy is going to be 50 years old. You know when? You know when? You know what 50 represents? A year of Jubilee, about being set free. That's right, that's what it represents. I'm going to be 50 on June 11th. Do you know what happens the day before that? There's a solar eclipse, a ring of fire solar eclipse. At the end of my 49th year, there is this huge event taking place, and it's connected to a lot of other things. It's even connected to videos I did like 5 years ago. The video that I actually shared that made the channel take off. That's the reason this dream and all this weird stuff that I had 5 years ago, just this program. I hope you're buckled up for, people, because it is out of control. And thank you for all of you that took part in getting yourself a copy of The Calling. And thank you for those who continue to, because by the end of this show, it's going to blow your mind. So buckle up. Welcome back to the show. Now listen, before I get into all the ins and outs of the eclipses, before I get into all the ins and outs of what I believe is coming, which is, it's an extraordinary claim, but there is a lot of evidence to back up that very shortly our world is about to change. And guess what? How many times have I said things that'll happen, and then they happen? Not like I'm so great, because I don't know what I'm doing, right? The last show that I had, it was because I was watering the grass. But I want to show you something, because I hide things, right? Because I really believed. I believed that on Pentecost that God was going to pour out His Spirit. I believed that we were going to see, something extraordinary, and I hid it in the thumbnail. I want you to take a look. What is the angel holding in his hand? And in the background, you'll also see what looks like meteors, right? Or something, maybe spaceships. I don't know what it is, but I had this idea, and I said the rain was coming, and I talked about how that it was going to be something huge spiritually, and it was going to be very significant, and I believe that it was tied into the novel, which is in a second you're going to see the footage where I literally prayed. You probably didn't even know this, but I held the book, and I literally prayed, and I said, Lord, will you show them? Will you show them that you're real? Will you make something? Will you make something happen? Will you make the impossible possible? What's it going to take to prove to all of you that God is real? And what's it going to take? We got to do tricks. We got to say things ahead of time and then it happens. I liken my novel, which is, by the way, coming out May 23rd. This is a testament of faith. Felt like God told me to write this book. I did. I wrote it the hardest part of my life many years ago. It was first published in 2008. The story is important. I've always believed it was important. So they know that you sent me. Show them. How many times? How many times did I believe and I went about it my own way? But this time, and I still didn't believe it. I was at work working my humble little job, right? Dealing with just a bunch of people, goofy people. And I find out on my phone that the calling has become an Amazon #1 bestseller on Pentecost, just like I prayed. And what's ironic is I said, ironically, I've shared this on Twitter. If you're not following me on Twitter, click the link below in the description. And by the way, about 1,000 of you now are on Telegram, so you're getting all of the updates. You're seeing everything firsthand. So connect with me on Telegram there so I can, let you know. Like I let you know the show was going live when it was going live. Now, it doesn't make a lot of sense. You say something like, you can't just do that. I don't have money behind me. I got I'm like a normal guy. I can't just get an Amazon bestseller like that. How did I know all of you were going to get on the bus and get yourself a copy and be a part of this? How did I know all of you were going to be so excited? By the way, share your reviews. Go to Amazon. Share your reviews. Tell the world what the book means to you. There's something more to this book. I'm telling you, I hid a lot of stuff in there. Okay, by the end of the show, I'm going to share some more, but I'll just say, if you have the novel already, here's a big hint for you. Take all the chapter titles, string them together. There may be a secret message hidden there for the reader. I hid a lot of stuff in this book so that when it went on to do what I believed it would do back when I wrote it, right back when it was first published in 2008, then when it was published again in 2016, and then it went nothing, and I just waited and waited and waited until I knew this was the moment. And it just so happens that as I turn 50, there's a solar eclipse, and it's in Gemini. How long I've been talking about the twins on the program? This is all just very strange. Explain this to me. How about during that show, the one on Elijah that I showed you the thumbnail earlier? You should go back and watch the show. Maybe I'll link it. Yeah, I'll link it right now. Click that and watch that show, because that show was talking about the day we just entered into. And this show is talking about the day we're about to enter into, which gets more exciting and a little stressful. pointed to it. I said, this is when it's going to happen. You know why? Because of the prophecy in Daniel. You know, the 1,335 days. We talked about this. In the clip, you see it right there. Look at this. So there are these different time frames that play out. And I deduced that from that Star of Bethlehem moment, that Revelation 12 sign that took place in Jerusalem on September 23rd, 2017. From that moment to Shavuot, right between that and Pentecost, was 1,335 days. So I knew it was like there's something. And the irony is, if you listen to what the scripture says, I told everybody that was going to be a day to rejoice. That was going to be a day to rejoice. And for me, what a day it was. Oh my goodness gracious. It was like it was God was saying, yep, your faith isn't in vain. Listen, from the time the daily sacrifice is abolished and the abomination that causes desolation is set up, there'll be 1,290 days. Blessed is the one who waits for and reaches the end of 1,335 days. As for you, go your way till the end. You will rest. This is good news for those that seek God. And then at the end of the days, you will rise and you will receive your allotted inheritance. What you've been waiting for your whole life, and then all this madness happened, right? Israel was promised the promised land. They were promised so much, but the enemy took so much from them, made them a slave. But God is saying, blessed are those who hang on, hold on to hope, because that day is here. You will rest and you will rise into your allotted inheritance. And believe it or not, this is tied in to that eclipse that takes place on June 10th, the day before my birthday, when I turned 50. 50, the 50th year, the Jubilee. Telling me there's something going on here? I've been saying from the get-go, I've been saying that if you're along for the ride, you're going to witness some amazing things. Don't just believe the words, believe when you start to see the stuff, right? Because the stuff is happening. Now, once again, this is not about me. I'm a meatball. I don't even know what I'm doing. This show just can't, I didn't even know there was an eclipse. I didn't know there was a solar eclipse day before my birthday. I didn't even know. I'm too busy thinking, oh, I gotta give a request and hope that my district manager lets me take the day off so I can celebrate my 50th birthday. These are the things I worry about, but then I find this out. Because once again, I'm like, Lord, what's the show? What do I gotta do? And then here, all of this stuff plays out. You wanna know what else is strange? Okay, what's the expression on the show? What have I been saying for how long? Buckle up, right? That's one of the t-shirts that we did, one of the merch. Hey, you get yourself some merch in the description. This is the other one, Teach Me the Truth, because this is the most important thing, is to seek God and also to understand that the truth is going to change you. That's why you should be buckled up. Isn't it ironic that on Twitter, Ginger Snaps tweets this amazing thing. The novel, I didn't know this. Once again, I don't know these things. It's 328 pages in length. 328. You know, a lot of people, they look into the numbers. You know, the Strong's number in Greek, which is, you know, Koine Greek, which is the New Testament, which is, you know, the new church that we be in. Guess what the number 328 means? Take a wild guess. I mean, you put two and two together, right? It's buckle up. It means gird up your loins. Literally means to fasten a belt, to buckle up. What are the chances that the Calling, the book of Thomas James, which, by the way, you start reading it here. This is the way life looks here. Until the end of the story, you get there. There's more to this story. This is why the fact that it became a bestseller on that day is just such a humbling gift to me. You know, and it's not about the money, because I have no idea. It probably didn't make a lot of money. It was a new release. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. I haven't even checked. You know what I do know though is that it was a miracle. And then day after day, I almost made it to the top 100 books 3 days in a row. Right? Little by little, it starts to slip because the interest, people don't know much about it. But I'm telling you, I have a strong feeling, especially after this show, that a lot more people are going to get themselves a copy, and I have a feeling that something else is going to happen in the world in a big way. I think it's all connected. I was going to title this video, Declare a Jubilee in the Land, Gathering the Lost Tribes of Israel. But that's kind of what this is about. That's actually kind of what happens at the end of the story, which is ironic. It's a time where the body of Christ is gathered together and renewed. A very interesting time indeed. So let me talk a little bit. Let me get into the lunar eclipse that we just had, which, by the way, I think that its totality was at, get this, 11/11. How kooky is that? Blood moon. Yeah, blood moon. But super flower blood moon, meaning the moon is closest to the earth than it had ever been. And of course, I say, oh wow, that's interesting. I'm taping the show during this super blood moon, and I'm thinking, hey, I did a show a couple of years ago. I wonder if these things are connected. Guess what? Go figure, right? They are. Because the news was that there hasn't been a blood moon since 2019. This is the only one this year, too, so it's significant. That's what they say. You know, it got me thinking, I should watch that blood moon, so I did. about 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago or so. There was a lot in there. And it had to do with, I don't know if you remember, 2019 was the year of the egg. Yeah, that's right. And I talked about it. I talked about how that because of this sign, because of the time we were entering into, because of the eclipse, the Great American Eclipse that happened, right? This is an annular solar eclipse that's happening on June 10th. But that was a total eclipse. That was the Great American Eclipse, where it made this X over the United States. You know, if you've been on the channel long enough, this is a big deal, because I had said you were going to have this time of judgment, this 3.5 years and this 3.5 years. And we're in the back half. And I said, yeah, it's going to get interesting. It's going to get very interesting. Ironically, the title of the video was about ancient life that was found in Antarctica. They found this ancient life, and I said that ancient life was returning. That was the point. The ancient life, the Christ, the wisdom of Christ was going to return. That's why we had this comment, Neo-wise, wise as Neo. All of these things, if you've been here for a long time, you should be so super fired up, because for the people that haven't been watching, you know, what's going to happen next? Oh my God, they're going to probably lose their minds. But in that video, get this. Okay, this is where it gets a little eerie, a little kooky. I talked about Oumuamua. Do you remember Oumuamua came back a couple of the interstellar visitor that acted like a spaceship, which they still say is probably a spaceship, has everybody freaked out? The professor from Harvard. Well, I talked about this for the very first time on that show. The first messenger arriving. And I said, oh, wouldn't it be funny? More come. More on the way. And then we had another one. We had Borisov. We got a lot of things coming our way. A lot of things. A lot of things. Like a massive solar storm again, right? There's all this energy coming our way. They say they're going to see the northern lights during the big blood moon. And what did I say about the sun? When the sun bursts a bunch of energy, guess what happens? It's photons, lights, light of the world. There's some kind of, I don't know, some people say like an activation happens. I think it would be pretty cool. How many times I said this on the last show, I've saying for years that I think that it would be great if I could just get superpowers. Wouldn't it be awesome? I don't know if that's going to happen, but I do know that there is a great awakening that is going to happen. And it's already kind of happened. The egg that was I talked about, right? And then they talked about the egg was starting to crack, and they said, you got to hang on to this precious life, because the dragon's going to come down for that child. Remember? Virgo, September 12th. Revelation 12 sign, September 23rd, bouncing around in the womb, was birthed. Say all of this because it's strange, right? The eclipse, it takes place at 11/11. That's the thing, 11/11. And guess what? The massive solar storm, it's because the sun is starting a new 11-year cycle. Here's 11/11 everywhere, right? I said, what did I say 11/11 was? It was a wake-up call. It was the time to wake up. Now this is interesting, okay? Because I want to go back I want to go back and I want to explain something to you because, you know, the scriptures, they've been passed down for years and they started off as stories. And I had said the reason why this Revelation 12 sign was so interesting was because, you know, the heavens, it's kind of like a big clock. And so times and seasons, the scriptures say that God placed them in, you know, so that you would know things. You'll be able to understand things, but think of it as a clock. You see that sign in the heavens, it's a countdown. It's a countdown, right? And now this is where it gets a little weird, okay? Because we're gonna talk about the video that made my channel go viral, which had to do with a planet called Nibiru, Planet X, the Anunnaki. The whole thing, which is very strange, is we learned on the channel over the years, because I have a cup, because I used to say Uranus, and I thought it was pretty funny. Uranus is supposed to be Uranus, but I call it Uranus, and I think it's funny. Uranus is a planet, so, you know, a lot of people get a kick out of saying, hey, I'm drinking coffee out of Uranus. It's a planet. But the irony is that you are Anu's, and Anu is the sky god. We found this out on one of the shows that I did explaining the ancient lore surrounding Uranus, which I knew nothing about, right? The whole thing with the Nibiru and Planet X and all that stuff, I knew nothing about any of this stuff. I didn't want to talk about any of this stuff. But 5 years ago, it says the Earth Chronicles. And I think, oh wow, that's interesting. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is what I need to look into. And I find out that the Earth Chronicles is a book about an alien race called the Anunnaki and a planet called Nibiru. So I thought that's a lot of coincidence, and it got that like feeling that like, oh my goodness, am I being pointed in a direction where I should share something like this? And last night I have a terrible dream where I'm at the emergency room, a building much like this, which is really disturbing, and we're there for Ethan. And in the dream, basically, like, you know, we start seeing meteors flying, and man, and it was like almost like it looked like scary times were coming because of this. And 5 years ago, from this solar eclipse, I did a video because I had this terrible nightmare, and you know this, right? And I was going to talk about aliens. Now, how kooky is this, right? Now, ironically, back then, the Calling, the second edition, was about to be released. So I didn't want to go on the air and tell everybody about aliens. I didn't even believe in aliens. But I felt like God was putting a bunch of stuff together, for crying out loud, right? One thing after another thing, dreams, then coincidence, then everything else. So it got to the point where I had this terrible nightmare. I just had to share it, so I shared it. And then the channel ends up, on the very next video that I do, the channel ends up going viral, which freaks me out because we're talking like millions of views all of a sudden. I actually deleted that one. And then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna lean into this. And then the very next video I do goes viral again, and then here we are. How many years later? So strange. But back then, I didn't want to talk about the goofy. I had like an egg-shaped dream where I had this thing over my house. It looked like an egg or a shiny Tic Tac. Back then, they didn't say that was real. Now we know that these are, you know, in the dream I said, don't worry, it's just a drone. Maybe that's what those Tic Tacs were. Maybe they're just drones. Maybe these things are down here. They're like, but the big event's coming. I'm not saying the big event's coming.
The fact that I'm even up here proves this shit simulation. None of it's real. The aliens are coming in June. Just be ready.
Aliens are coming in June. Just be ready.
But I do find it ironic that we got a couple of big movies coming. The Eternals being one of them. The MCU, The Eternals. Yeah, the trailer just dropped. It starts off with, we help them evolve. Kind of like the story of the Anunnaki, where the craft appears on the, the Cro-Magnon man. Take a look. And for years they sat back and they didn't do nothing, right? They didn't do nothing. But now they will intervene. Is this why? They've been given the steady drip, 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 right? Well, you know, on the channel, what did I say? I even said it would be 2021. I said 2020, the finale begins, and I said, and then here we are. So, be that as it may, it's strange. to mention the Chris Pratt film, what is it called, Tomorrow War, which is coming out in July, where they're fighting in the future. It's time travel. Isn't it weird that everything I've been talking about on this channel, all the goofy stuff, Mandela effect, right? Quantum physics, faith, all of these things, aliens, asteroids, comets, all of these events, all of these things playing out, like it's literally, like, right? How many times do I say it's the best blockbuster of all times and it's your life? You're smack dab in the middle of it. You've been hidden. God is hidden. It's like a seed is buried in a deep, dark, terrible hole, right? And it stinks when the seed's in the hole. And then little by little, rain starts to drip down to that seed and starts to fill it and give it a little bit of life. And then it starts to stretch and then starts to fight and breaks through the darkness. And once it finally hits that sun, ooh, it grows. And then it grows and grows and grows until it flowers. Flower the field. So is that what's coming? Are we looking for our inheritance? Is that what this solar eclipse is all about? Or is it an alien invasion? Are they gonna present themselves? Because we do know, right? We had what? We had Obama. He was just saying, oh yeah, aliens are there, right? Everybody is gonna release all the information June 1st. This is a whole lot of interesting stuff going down at the same time. Whole lot of interesting stuff.
Everybody for the tremendous support you've shown. We're going to take back the Senate, take back the House, we're going to take back the White House, and sooner than you think it's going to be really something special.
Considering it's stuff that's been on my channel for years that said, you watch, it's gonna happen. I must have sounded like a lunatic to a lot of people. I did. I don't got a lot of friends. I don't got any friends, really. I mean, I got a couple of friends. I got like Ernie, and I got a couple of people here and there that I talk to, but I don't have anybody in real life. People at my job, they make fun of me, right? They don't even know, but there's something about me just kind of irksome, I guess, you know. It's been that way for a long time, no matter where I worked. You know, because, you know why? Because I'm not part of this world. So if you're different than everybody else and you love and you're kind and you're joy-filled, it can trouble a lot of people and they want to tear you down. But you know what? The good thing is the light's shining in darkness. And even though the darkness perceives it not, even though people that are in darkness, they don't understand, it doesn't matter because the light's still shining. And if Christ be raised up in the world, it'll draw all men to him. The gathering of the lost tribes. So we got all this stuff on anniversaries of videos I did. But this is not new to all of you. You know, I think the reason why people don't make a big deal out of it, I mean it's pretty cool. A little prayer and then boom, the books. I mean, that doesn't normally happen. You know, it's like, it's time to maybe give God some glory. Maybe it's time to believe bigger. Maybe it's time to understand that you know, the rain was held back for a long time. But now maybe it's time to share the truth of God. You're the witnesses of God. Maybe it's time to speak blessing and not curse over your life and the world. So let me tell you about this solar eclipse, which just so happens to be taking place the day before my birthday. Now, there are a couple of things I worry about, you know. I worry about turning 50 and all. You know, if you read the novel, you'll see why the lead character, something spooky happens when he's about 50. But it's just a nightmare. It's just a nightmare. And maybe it's time to see things in a better light. Can't always listen to fear, right? God says all the time, fear not. Fear not. It's like it's written so many times in the scriptures. Fear not. Do you know what takes place on my birthday this year? It's interesting. It's like a minor holiday. It's called Rosh Chodesh of Tammuz, which is, by the way, it marks the beginning of a new moon. But this year it's about Joseph. In his life, there was a great famine in the land, right? But Joseph was sent so that there'd be enough grain. He'd be able to, right? He stored up the treasure. He stored it up for years. He said, store it up, store it up, store it up, because the famine's coming. But he thought that it was really just grain and corn and food. And sure, it was back then. And maybe it will be today. I don't know. But really, it's about the truth of God. It's about the power and wisdom of God, which is Christ in you, the hope of glory, rising from the dead. To be carnally minded is death. The body of Christ. Who is the body of Christ? People always ask me, you think Jesus is going to come back in his literal body? I'm like, yeah! Of course I do! Absolutely, of course! Because that's the hope of glory. We're given the name of Christ. We're supposed to take on the mind of Christ. We are the body of Christ. We have the mind of Christ and we're the body of Christ and we have the name of Christ. Now, by the way, just so you know, because I know religion twists things and made everybody a slave and lied to everybody and turned God into the devil. Basically, as a monster, which isn't true. And that's why it's so easy for people to follow after the fake gods, the Baals of the world. That's why every once in a while, God has to show his power in silly things. Things that make no sense. Meatballs like me going bumping around into, not no do. Let me say this today. How goofy is this? Oh, let me put the book in the cover as a testament, God, that the angel is saying it's going to be a bestseller, and then it's a bestseller on the day I put the arrow to. I got to tell you, this stuff been happening for years in my life, right? Because Jacob, wrestler. I was the head writer for wrestling. Jacob, last person I wrestled was named Angel, was a youth pastor. Choked him out. Jacob worked for Laban, sheep shearer. I worked for Christian TV. I was a shepherd, and they shear the sheep. Jacob's story, right? By the time he turns 50, he's supposed to chill. He's supposed to relax. Jacob's around during the famine. We're in a famine, people, right? We're in the famine. There's nothing new under the sun. So 14 days, I think it's 14 days after this super blood moon, flower moon eclipse, is this North American rare, check this out, sunrise eclipse. Now, a lot of people can say, is Christ coming? Is Christ coming? I'm like, I think it's going to be big. I think that it's going to be like something big. Something big. Mark my words. North America is going to witness this rare sunrise eclipse, which happens to be telling the story of Joseph in this holiday. And our star is known as a ring of fire. So that means that the moon is farthest away. So it doesn't cover the sun completely, but the fact that this is taking place at sunrise. It's been dark, get it? Sun's rising. But the sun is still obscured by the moon. Moon, by the way, is symbolic of your soul. Moon is a reflection of the sun. It isn't a light, but it reflects the light. The light is reflected in the moon, which gives light to others. But the moon would be our soulish, so it's only partially obscuring. The sun's breaking through. Now, ironically, they say you could actually see it from some parts of Long Island. That's where I'm from, so I think it's kind of cool. It's going to be an eclipse the day before my birthday. The end of the 49 years, bringing us into Jubilee. are those that wait 1,335 days because they're going to get their inheritance. And look at what's happening now. So the path goes north from remote regions of Canada through Greenland, North Pole, Siberia. But guess how much of the sun is shining? 11:11. Come on, people. Come on! Isn't that awesome? In the chat, say that's awesome. Because I'm saying it. Look, solar eclipse taking place in Gemini, the twins. The lead character of my book is Thomas. James Thomas is a twin. It's about duality. The two shall become one. The elder shall serve the younger. The carnal man will serve the Christ man. I got to get up early to see this one. 5:30 in the morning. I got to be at a great place in Long Island, but it says beach communities of Long Island. I'm not a beach community, but I can get to one. So is it all coming together? Is it all coming to a head, right? Is it all coming to a head? I don't know. But I do say this is right on time. Because you want to know what's funny? Because this is going to be a trilogy. The next book we find out about, is something else. Because the idea is that this novel becomes like a major motion picture. The major motion picture becomes like everybody gets to know. Guess then what happens? Guess what happens next? People find the author of the book and the YouTube videos, and they find the treasure troves of essays that he's been giving away for free. JacobIsrael.com. Life, storing up the treasure for a long time. I've been bringing the grain. I've been bringing the tithe, which is what the tithe is. Into the storehouse. It's there. It's at my website. It's there. It's on YouTube. It's there. It's in the novel. It's a treasure waiting to be revealed. And I really do hope that all of you that read it, and I know a lot of you really love it, tell people, pick up a copy. There's going to be a link for the Amazon paperback, 11:11. 11:11 is what I'm selling it for, and I'm asking everybody to get the paperback. You can get the hardcover too. You can get the Kindle as well, but make sure you get the paperback. 11:11. 11:11. 11:11. Twins. 11:11. Everywhere you go, it's a wake-up call. Now here's ironic, okay? Because I actually, when I wrote this, I put in this a date and time. And this was I added this actually in 2016. You'll see it. I entered it in, take a look at that, as evidence. Entered in as evidence 9/11, 2022. It's a lot of a 111s, right? I want to read this to you. Basically what it is it's a note that Thomas is sharing with all of those who found him. Now this is at the end of the story. Dear friends, I'm writing to you because we face an even greater threat today than before. The world is quickly changing, and with each passing day, more of our lost brothers and sisters hear our voice and have found their way back to us. The glorious revelation of who we truly are, that the principalities and powers of this world have fought to keep hidden, is now being shared abroad. I applaud each of you for keeping your tongues until the time that is appointed. We've taken upon ourselves the great and terrible task of sharing so great a truth that if we were to reveal ourselves to the world too soon, it would most surely be our end. I'm filled with sorrow that I had to keep, until now, the deepest and most profound message of all from your ears. This was for your own good, and for the good of our brothers and sisters in bonds. To the point of my words, my messenger has delivered to each and every one of you pages that I labored to write for many years. Now what's ironic is Amazon could be the messenger that delivered the papers that you're about to read. Something that I labored to write too. You see, there's a dual meaning. I'm talking to you and the character's talking too. There's more to this story, and it's awesome. This work, which may seem to the world a mere fantasy, hides the keys to unlocking the very secret of creation. To those that are without understanding, these following pages will seem an idle tale meant to entertain, or the ravings of a delusional man. However, I assure you, this journey you are about to embark on will prove these words true. It is of the utmost importance that you do not keep these pages to yourself. Now, I want to say something. It's great that you get inspiration and encouragement and stuff like that. Don't keep it to yourself. Share the video. Don't say, I'm just going to eat it all up and that's it. Share it around so other people can get some food too. So now it's very important, that's what Thomas is saying, that you don't keep this to yourself. It's important that you don't keep these pages to yourself. They are now meant to be shared far and wide. All must be made aware of this book. Interesting. We're talking about the book of Thomas James here. Strange. It's like a double meaning. Did I mean it that way? We do this with the hope that the blind may be given their sight again, and the corruption of dominion will fall. You'll find out that dominion, remember dominion? Hear a lot about dominion? Dominion is in the story too. It's an organization, just so you know. I want you all to know how deep my love towards each of you grows. I know of your many sacrifices, and I've heard of your many trials for which my heart breaks. We've been scattered as so much straw in the wind. Nevertheless, I eagerly and faithfully wait for the day that we are reunited. Wisdom tells me the end will justify the means, and our suffering will seem as nothing compared to the joy and the power we're about to inherit. I ache for the moment our purpose is fulfilled and the darkness holding mankind in chains is extinguished by the light. I have not abandoned you. It was for your good that I went away, but know this, I have never left you, and I am always with you. The good work that is begun within you will continue until my revealing again. Now imagine if that's Christ talking the whole time, because that was the intention there. We have fought the good fight within, and now the fight begins without. Now the truth will be shouted from the rooftops, and what a day this will be. You see, your life is not what it appears to be. What will happen when the truth is poured out on a world that is deceived? To this question, I have but one answer: change. The truth will change you, and my words are the instrument of this change. We must stand firm and play the part we're meant to play so we can be that change for those who cannot see. I've told you in day past that you'll be hated, falsely accused, condemned, and yes, hunted, because of your ability to hear the words I speak. But be of good cheer, my friends, we cannot fail. We will overcome this world with good. Evil will not overcome us, regardless of bonds, persecutions, distress, famine, or war. We will always be free, liberated, at peace, full, and never wanting. We have within us so great a treasure that the reach of dominion has no effect. Soon, very soon, you will understand that where you are is where you're meant to be, and where you're going is beyond your greatest dream. Keep these pages safe. Keep these pages close. You will do as you're meant to do with them. Never question, never regret, and never fear that you've been a failure. For every single instant of every single moment was about absolute necessity to bring you to right here and right now, reading these many pages that follow. A true account of my journey. The past does not exist. The future does not exist. This moment is all that matters. This moment is a treasure. This is why it's called the present. Blessed are those who do not condemn themselves in what they allow. Blessed are those who do no harm. Blessed are those who do not fear what may be. Fear is the root of all suffering. Fear is the father of all lies and pain, reserved for destruction by the words hidden within the pages you're about to read. The desire of your heart has been for this moment. The declaration of liberty is at hand. Let love be your guide. Let patience rule your heart. Let joy heal you in your time of trouble. Follow the path set before you, even though it may seem a grievous thing. It will be your devotion to share what you find in these pages that brings you the purpose you so desperately seek. For it will be your words, your actions, that ignite this world once again in what is most certainly humanity's greatest and most terrifying hour. I'd say that's probably the case, wouldn't you? For 9/11/22. For now, do not try to find me. Do not believe that the messenger is greater than the message. That's important to know, people. Don't be looking to me. Look to God. Do not think higher of yourselves than others, for blindness in part happened to your brothers and sisters in bonds, so you could play a role in setting them free. Can't be looking at people and pointing them out and saying, oh, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad. For now, know how close you are to my heart. You may not see me, but I keep my eyes firmly planted on you. You're never alone, for we are one. As for this note, my messenger will see fit to release it to the world as a work of fiction when the time is right, causing no alarm among the masses. Just had a little bit of a revelation there. Maybe the messenger's not the Amazon guy. Maybe the messenger's the guy who wrote the story. And maybe God was kind of like inspiring me, because the more I read, it really does sound a lot like Christ, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound a lot like Christ? Don't try to find me. Don't believe the messenger is greater than the message. Don't think higher of yourselves than others. For just know how close you are to my heart. You may not see me, but I keep my eyes firmly planted on you. You're never alone. We are one. As for this note, my messenger will see fit to release it to the world as a work of fiction when the time is right, causing no alarm among the masses until after the truth of this great work is revealed. It's interesting. It's interesting. Because I didn't know when to release the book, so who knows? Maybe there's more to the story, right? The story just keeps getting better and better and better. Trust your heart, trust each other, and know that when those who read these pages are gathered together, so too will begin mankind's ascent out of this grave called life. Keep vigil, keep the faith, keep to yourself, and keep watch, for the hour is fast approaching. Yours in the faith, Thomas James. This is the story of the first 18 years of his life, which is pretty awesome. That would be like the foreword of the next book, which literally will take place from here on out, because we're about to write it together. Isn't that cool? I think that's cool. In any event, it just is exciting. It's exciting. I'm excited. I don't know what's coming, but I feel like it's something big. And I feel somehow that you and me are part of that big, like in a great way. So really just lean into it like I lean into this. Faith, with faith, all things are possible. With God, all things are possible. Now do me a favor. Make sure and share the videos around. Tell your friends. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. If you want to get a copy of the novel, get the paper book. You get it's a birthday gift. Yeah, sure. Right? Why not? I appreciate it. And if the story means something to you, please go to Amazon and leave a review so more people find out about it. Tell people about the book. I know a lot of people are like, wow, I've never read a book before, and this is like amazing. Because there's something more to it. It's like a bingeable Netflix series. And it's just crazy to see everything come to pass at a time when I said, oh, it'll come to pass. Right? This is awesome. You should be encouraged. Now remember, this is the same for you. It's not just me. I'm sharing my life. I'm sharing my journey, but it's the same for you. This great truth is going to be poured out on everyone. And I'm hoping that it'll wake people up and people will start to love people. And they won't be so scared with the days to come. Because it could be anything. It could be aliens, right? Coming down. Could be. Who knows? I love each and every one of you. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching Jacob Israel. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and share this channel around. If these shows have helped you, help Jacob to reach more any way you can, and have the best day ever.
Click it.